As steel shapes steel, the spirit shapes the soul. HOI. Iron sharpens iron.
Plantation. 9 to 5 be the time I was wasting. Man, I feel like I need a vacation. Saving up for my resignation. Why I feel like my manager hating. Ain't the one for no verbal castration. This government ain't giving reparation. We'll go to crime trying to fight the temptation.
Rejoice in tribulations, demonstrate patience in every situation, picking up the pieces to their heart restoration. People broken hearted and in need of salvation. We in captivity, we done lost our history. Disconnected from his laws, now there's no integrity. Here's the book and let them see, because they dying in these streets. Walking in darkness and where the carcass is, the eagles be. Walking in darkness and where the carcass around us like vultures. Murder on their mind when they approach us. Let your light shine, watch them scatter like roaches. Babylon falling cause we taking back our culture. Heal our land, Abba now put us back in agriculture. This word burning them up, Romans is a flamethrower. We prophesy destruction, nukes coming, game over. International, continental, ballistic missile. Them bombs dropping like rain, no drizzle. The lake of fire make them sizzle. Showing fruits of the spirit, we don't gather figs of thistles. That's the dog, you know, so just like how you were saying.
Hey, my name is Amani Bright Laws. I'm a travel business owner. My business is Always Shine Bright Travel, where we help you discover your next bright destination. I want to talk to you really quickly today about becoming a travel business owner. Listen, if your passion is traveling, if your passion is exploring the world, if your passion is wanting to travel and explore the world, then you should become a travel business owner, okay? I have 2 easy ways to get started. Less than 1 minute, okay? The first way, up here, our website, travelagentworkshop.com. And please use my sponsor ID, Always Shine Bright, okay? The second way is a text code. Text the word workshop to the number 281-767-9711. And again, reference my sponsor ID, Always Shine Bright, okay? Listen. The workshop is free. It's a free 3-day workshop, which gives you all the information on how to get started to become a travel business owner. Okay. Any questions that you have will get answered within that workshop. Okay. So let me meet you on the money making side of travel, where you can turn your passion into your paycheck.
Y'all know what time it is. It's your boy Chef D-Nail. Over here, guess who's cooking? Good cooking, good eating, good living. Y'all know how we do it every Sunday about this time, man. We're going to get straight to it. We got the chicken and dumplings, all right? We got the perch fish with the mac and cheese, with the yams, with the 5 cheese toast over here on the Texas side. And of course, we got the world famous turkey tips, all right? We also got, on this one, we got the greens with the turkey tails, and we got the spaghetti. You already know what time it is, man. Hit the link, 773-992-4737 is the phone number to place your order every Sunday, all right? And you can hit us up on the Cash App to make payments at Guess Who's Cooking, the number 2. All right. You can hit the www.guesswho'scooking on the World Wide Web. You can catch us on Facebook Marketplace under Guess Who's Cooking. And of course on TikTok, man, at Guess Who's Cooking. Come on down. Get your orders.
Shame I give you peace from underneath. Give me mind and be in light to reignite. Can you open up the doors to let me in? Can you open up the doors to let me in? You could put the heart inside, don't top my head. As I sing the love inside from out my mouth. Tell me what you need to find. Tell me now. Tell me what you need to find.
Yeah. Shout out to my higher now, Yahweh. Shout out to Dark Side for this beat. All praises to my higher now, Yahweh, the house of Israel. Put your hands on your heart for your God. We gonna roll with Yahweh. What? He's out higher now. Yeah. We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. Come on. We gonna roll with Yahweh. Yeah. He's out higher now. What? We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. We gonna roll with Yahweh. He's out higher now. We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. We gonna roll with Yahweh. Come on. He's out higher now. Come on. We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. We gonna roll with Yahweh, he's out higher now. There's none greater than the God Yahweh. Every day he show us his power, and these storms, man, they devour. He has bodies, man, every hour. Life is sour, but he brings power. And his son, yes, we do honor. He's our father, a mighty father, and you defile us, why even bother? All you wicked ass men that started these problems, but he's the problem solver. Man, these scriptures hit like a revolver, shrapnel in your face like a bomber. Daughters of Zion, let's go warn her that the Lord God is about to abhor her. Wait, hold up. This is the reason why I'm living, and the reason why I'm even in existence is to please higher now and to show higher now that we have truly repented. Ain't no reason for a brother to come up the camp at the front like he got still. But if a real little brother by the will of the Yahweh, your camp, he might just bail. Wait, hold up. We gonna roll with Yahweh. He's out higher now. What? We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. Yeah. We gonna roll with Yahweh. He's out higher now. We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. Come on. We gonna roll with Yahweh. Yeah. He's out higher now. Let's go. We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. Hallelujah. We gonna roll with Yahweh. He's out higher now. We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. Who the hell said Yahweh ain't real? Don't make a cop back or to steal. Make you clap like you was a seal, or a pig to the slaughter you squeal. Like the devils in the Bible it revealed. White women walk past you like ill. To the devils in the crowd and send chills. Hop back in your post and just peel. White people walk up and they cry, trying to say that the Bible ain't right. But the Bible said the devil gonna fry, and the Bible said the devil is a lie. You should the devil touch the apple of his eye. Coronavirus that you modify. Better scripture that is screaming for the Lord. Angel call upon y'all like a sword. Hold up. This is the reason why I'm living, and the reason why I'm even in existence is to please higher now and to show higher now that we have truly repented. There's no reason for our brother just to come up the camp at the front like he got still. Cause if it's real, little brother by the will of Yahweh, your gap might just peel. Wait, hold up. We gonna roll with Yahweh. He's out higher now. Yeah. We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. Come on. We gonna roll with Yahweh. Yeah. He's out higher now. We gonna roll with Yahweh, and his name is full of power. We gonna roll
Khan, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahushai. Shalom, everyone. Another Wednesday wake-up call, another edition of what's going on in the world tied to biblical prophecy. Kwom Yasha'Allah, rise Israel. Double honors to our elders. Still waking up the lost sheep of Israel in these last days. All right. And I'm your host, Chaasadyah. We are going to dive into this lesson, all right, called Partying on the Titanic, right? And my swordsman for today. You there, King?
Yazian.
Yeah, Yazian in the building. All praises. All right. So, of course, we're going to start off with the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. You can find this in Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 through 13. All right. And it's thus. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachbaka, Thaba'a, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Baratazah, Kawa, Haya, Bashemayim, Nadananawa, Lacham, Kau, Yuwam, Wasalafnawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalafnawa, Kabawafinawa, Wala'a, Thabinawa, Banasaiwan, Abo, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Watapalaraf, Lavulamyam, Aman. Khan. All right, so we're gonna get started. Of course, we gotta say fair use act. Disclaimers in the beginning, but we still want to say fair use act. This is a teaching. This is a class. Okay. Let's start with Luke chapter 17 and verse 26. Let's get right into it. This is the days that we're living in. Four people got killed by Cuban border patrol today. Whether that's going to escalate into something else. Apparently, these people were in a boat from Florida, a Florida registered boat. We're going to see what happens. You know what I mean? All this stuff going on, people still partying and just going about their business like nothing's going on. But we're going to talk about it, right? You got King Khan. All praise. You could bring it out.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 17, and verse 26. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. So like
Khan, go ahead.
They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all.
So you look at what's going on right now and how people are totally oblivious to the signs. Signs been going on. A lot of people, though, have been kind of elevated in their awareness after the Epstein files came out. But that doesn't take away from the fact that, there was, the waters turned to blood over there in Iran. And the last time that happened, there was a war with Israel. Now it's a potential war with the United States. So it's just small, I don't want to say small things. It's things like that are just bypassing, people's awareness. And when things happen, they're like, oh wow, I didn't see this coming. Well, the writing's been on the wall, but people are partying, people are enjoying themselves, people are celebrating, they are partying on the Titanic. Okay, this is what this class is about. You know what I mean? Just the lack of awareness to what's going on. You know what I mean? Play it again, Sam, while the ship is sinking. All praise to the Most High. There's no Negroes allowed on the Titanic, so that wasn't us. You know what I mean? But in the aspect of Babylon, we all through this place, and a lot of us, are getting jammed up, especially during this so-called Black History Month. It's been a bloody Black History Month. Go ahead, King. You read verse 28.
Likewise, also as if was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded.
Because in the people in Lot, it wasn't just the sexual aspect, immorality of wanting to sleep with the angels and all that. It was other things going. There was a lot of pride in Sodom. Do you know what I mean? People weren't helping out the poor in Sodom. You can read that in Ezekiel. But as you can see, they thought nothing was ever going to come of that. You know what I mean? Eating, drinking, buying, selling, planting. When you plant something, you expect to reap it. But obviously, it didn't work out good for them over in Sodom and Gomorrah. Go ahead, King. Read next verse.
But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all.
So what we notice with both of those examples, it wasn't until Noah got into the ark, it started raining. Wasn't until it wasn't until Lot left out, that's when the fire and brimstone came out. You know what I mean? So those that aim to be righteous in this society, you got to really turn your back on this place. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully things will get better. You know what I mean? Praying to the Lord. Hopefully we can build back up and we all put, hand in hand. But that wouldn't make sense as a righteous person, knowing the scriptures, you know what I'm saying? And when to pray this, that Babylon rebuilds itself. You know what I mean? That'll be the time where, like Yahushua told Peter, get behind me, Satan. This thing has to happen. This place has to fall. The what happened to Yahushua, it had to happen. You know what I mean? It was prophesied to happen. So thus it happened. Same thing with America. This place has been talked about for a long time in the scriptures. And we're living in that time period where things are really popping off. You read verse 30.
Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed.
So same stuff that was happening then. It's going to be partying, people planting, people hoping for the future, hoping their 401k does some backflips. You know what I mean? That the interest rate tumbles or rises as far as their savings goes. You know what I mean? And while all this is happening, you have NATO talking about giving nukes to Ukraine. While all this is happening, you have Cuba shooting down 4 people that were assumably United States citizens. You know what I mean? We'll see. They say it's J.D. Vance and them, we're going to figure out what's going on, this, that, and the third. While all this is going on, Iran is being surrounded by U.S. military. Okay. So it's important to keep an eye open to see what's going on. We're going to have some examples of some things that happen to our people, you know what I mean, during this time period, okay? And this first one, we're going to talk about the sister went to visit Esau. Like, she left out of her house to go visit this guy. She's 17, he's 51. I don't know if you heard the story. What is a 17-year-old doing with a 51-year-old? I don't know. But what it comes down to is that was the last visit she ever did. You know what I mean? So when I talk about partying on the Titanic, it's like not paying attention to the writing on the wall. When Esau said, when Charlie Kirk got hit in the neck, Esau was like, yeah, it's war. We're coming to war. Like, who forgot about that? You know what I'm saying? Jake would, presumably be like, oh, they were just joking. Oh, that was a long time ago. to Esau, it wasn't. You know what I mean? They're cunning hunters. You know, if you know anything about hunting, they'll sit in the woods still for days to get a shot. You know what I'm saying? So we can't forget what people have said. If somebody tells you who they are, make sure you believe them. Okay. All right. Let's start with this story. Let's get 1 Peter 4:17. When judgment is taking place, it's coming. It's coming home first. It's coming to us first. All right.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh. And if it first began at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh?
So, of course, we're going to get it first. You know what I'm saying? The children, your children get spanked first. But in this situation, he's going to spank everybody. All right. So let's see what happened one day in California when a young sister didn't know the rules of engagement, that we're literally at war right now. Okay. All right, let me get the video queued up.
And continuing coverage as the search continues for a teenage girl from Hemet that went missing back in December. 17-year-old Taneva Tovar was last seen on December 1st heading to Thermal. Investigators have since confirmed that later that day she traveled more than 70 miles to Thermal and believe that she left possibly to meet up with an adult male. Her mother says that she always shared her location with her mother and kept in contact with friends, and that stopped the day she went missing. Authorities believe she may still be in the Thermal area. She's described as 5'6" tall, 129 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, has a tattoo on her left hand. Anyone with information on Tanea's whereabouts is encouraged to reach out to authorities.
And that adult male that she met with is 51-year-old Caucasian white male Abraham Feinblum, something like that. And he has recently been arrested. You're going to hear more about him in a moment. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. This situation started in December the 1st, where 17-year-old Tania Tover went missing. And it was alleged that she went out there to Thermal, California to meet this white male. We're going to get some more information about how they possibly met as well. But she had been missing since December the 1st. Most recently, in early February, they found some remains in which they identified those remains as Tania Tover. Just listen to this news clip explaining how they came to find those remains and how they identified those remains as Tania. Just watch.
Breaking news, heartbreaking confirmation tonight. The Imperial County Sheriff's Office now confirming human remains found near the Salton Sea in December are those of missing 17-year-old Tania Tovar. News Channel 3 first reported this Wednesday after speaking with her mother. Let's now go to News Channel 3's Garrett Hoddle at the Breaking News Center. Garrett.
Thanks, Peter. So deputies responded December 21st around 4 o'clock to Portsmouth Avenue and New Haven Court in Vista Del Mar. That's where they said they found a decomposing human leg. Now, weeks later, DNA testing confirmed the remains were Tania Tovar's after her mother provided a sample. Here's the press release right there from the Imperial County Sheriff's Department. We're still learning new details. You can see right there on Sunday, December 21st is when deputies responded to that area in Vista Del Mar and were able to find those remains and confirm through DNA testing they are Tania Tovar's. Last Friday, we showed you this video. This was of the FBI raiding a home in Thermal. We're still pressing for more information on that. Tania has been missing since December 1st. Family members over in Thermal told us that they actually saw her in the street back in December before she disappeared. We have reached out to authorities and we are pressing for more information. If you have any details that could help police, please contact them. We have a number of resources over on our website at KESQ.com. In the newsroom, Garrett Hoddle, News Channel 3.
Now, let me correct myself. Those remains were found in December, about 3 weeks after she went missing. Now, according to the news station who have been investigating that, shortly thereafter or earlier this month, they raided this guy's home, Abraham Feinblum, in possible connection with this girl's disappearance. And according to family members, she was seen, or her location was pinged in the area of that home during the time shortly thereafter she went missing. So I guess that's why the FBI is going to this man's home. Just take a look at the first time they went before he was arrested in connection with Tania's death.
Breaking news tonight out of Thermal. We are monitoring a developing scene at the moment where we have seen a massive increase in police presence. Hello, I'm Karen Devine.
And I'm John White. Authorities are investigating a house that may have a possible connection to a missing teenage girl from Hemet who disappeared in December, heading to Thermal.
News Channel 3's Garrett Hoddle is live on scene there in Thermal with the latest on this. And Garrett, what is new?
Well, John and Karen, behind me here is the place where the family members of missing 17-year-old Tania Tovar say she was last seen. I'm standing on the south end of Harlequin Court Street in Thermal, where we've seen FBI agents come in and out of the home just in the past 30 minutes. They've been here since about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Here's what we know so far. They tell us that this is not, at the moment, they have not confirmed that this is in connection to the disappearance of missing Tania Tovar. What they do tell us is they're serving a search warrant right here in conjunction with the Imperial County Sheriff's Department. We've seen several deputies move in and out of the home as well. We've seen FBI agents go into the home. Now, one of the questions we had is who owns this? So I've been speaking with neighbors, and they told us about 2 or 3 years ago, the original property owner of this home passed away, and then another gentleman took over, and he began constructing, I think you can see it behind me here, this plywood wall that's painted pink around his property, which neighbors found confusing. Now, I was also told by several neighbors, at least 3, that they were contacted by the FBI. They said agents came to their home, knocked on their door, and showed them the picture of one gentleman. They said it was an elderly Caucasian man who was bald. The FBI agents asked them if they knew anything about them, and that's where we're at right now. That's the latest that we have. This is still a developing scene. We have agents still here on the property. We'll continue to update you. For now, stick with News Channel 3 for updates. Reporting live in Thermal, I'm Garrett Hoddle, News Channel 3.
And so that raid on his house was February the 6th. The girl's remains were identified February the 12th, and they were found December the 21st. So apparently they had this guy on the radar. They finally arrested him as early as yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, and he tried to hop the fence, but the FBI and the local police was able to apprehend him before he got away. Now, this is some footage of that arrest and some other details concerning this story.
Breaking tonight, the man accused in the murder of 17-year-old Tania Titi Tovar is now behind bars. Hello, I'm Athena Gerage. Imperial County Sheriff's confirming to News Channel 3 that 51-year-old Abraham Feinblum was arrested Friday morning after a search warrant was served at a home on Harlequin Court in Salton City. Feinblum is now facing murder and resisting arrest charges and is being held without bail. News Channel 3 was the first to bring you confirmation of an arrest in this case, and tonight we are bringing you new details you won't see anywhere else. We go straight to Garrett Hoddle in studio with more.
We had this information from the very beginning. We were just waiting for official confirmation, and now we have it. This is the man, and this is the moment. 51-year-old Abraham Feinblum was taken into custody on Friday morning. According to the Imperial County Sheriff's Office, Feinblum was seen jumping a fence in what appeared to be an attempt to invade law enforcement as agents closed in. He was immediately detained, turned over to the FBI for questioning, and later booked into the Imperial County Jail. He's now being charged with murder and resisting a peace officer. He's being held without bail. Throughout this story, I've spoken with friends of Tania and her mother, Charo, several times, including this morning. We've been in contact for the last 2 weeks, but Charo has been battling for justice since her daughter went missing in December. She gave me permission to share this voicemail she left me Friday morning as agents closed in on Feinblum.
SWAT, FBI are at Abraham's house to arrest him. Thank God that he has been arrested. I already knew this all along. Thank you, God. Thank you, Father God. They are arresting Abraham.
Since February 6th, when FBI agents were first seen searching the home, we've been combing through property records. We've requested court documents and have been asking police questions every day. We're working to confirm more details about Abraham Feinblum and the timeline of Tania's disappearance. I've been speaking with family and friends of Tania throughout this investigation. They told me this is a moment they prayed for, but it's also a painful reminder of everything they've lost. They want justice. They want answers. We'll continue covering this case with that in focus. For now in studio, Garrett Hoddle, News Channel 3.
All right, and I'm going to let you hear what the parents had to say in a second. But first, they have a digital timeline of possibly, when Tania got there, as well as, when she possibly went missing. Now, you heard the mother speak saying, I knew it was Abraham, and I don't know how she knows him or her daughter knows him, but when you call somebody like that, it sounds like, you know them on a first name basis, or it is because she has invested so much time into this situation that, she's just calling him Abraham. Now, it's alleged that the forensics and the FBI were at his house 10 years earlier. And they said when the person died who owned the property before him, he moved in and he built that weird pink fence around the property. And all the people in the neighborhood called him the scary guy in the scary house. And so he definitely looks like somebody, that's guilty, especially when you try to run and hop the fence when the authorities come. But just taking a look at this digital evidence before you're going to hear a little more from Tania's mother. Just watch.
Looks brutal.
It does. Thank you, Shay. Tonight at 6, new details in the timeline in the murder of a 17-year-old Emmett girl. A 51-year-old man is now in custody in connection with the death of Tania Tovar.
News Channel 3's Garrett Hoddle began covering this story back on February 6th when federal agents were seen executing a search warrant at a home in Salton City.
Tonight, he's live in the newsroom breaking down the latest information and the timeline of this case. Garrett.
Thanks, Garrett. That's absolutely right. In the past day alone, I've received several calls from friends of Tania who say she may have visited the Harlequin Court home even before October. Now, these claims have not been independently verified, and law enforcement hasn't said how long she and Abram Feinblum may have known each other. On October 23rd, 2025, Tania posted a TikTok. The caption reads, "I need friends, but I'm all the way in." When you swipe to the next image, a map appears. It shows her location in the Salton Sea area. This publicly documents that Tania was in or near Salton City more than 5 weeks before she was reported missing. It does not confirm she was at the Harlequin Court home that day, but it places her in the area. Friends also telling investigators they saw Tania with Feinblum near 7th Street and Metro in October. That sighting, combined with the TikTok, establishes contact between the two weeks before December.
Husband saw Tania?
He saw the girl in the street walking around.
February 6th was the first time we saw the Harlequin Court property in person. What stood out immediately, it didn't feel open.
You were talking about when the FBI came and knocked on your door. What did they tell you?
They wanted to ask us some questions about the missing girl. And if I was aware about the missing girl in the area that had went missing, I said, yes. Someone put a flyer at the corner of my house.
February 6th was the first time we saw the Harlequin Court property in person. Who owns this property? That's a question that we've been asking. What I've been told by neighbors is that about 2 years ago, the original property owner died. That investigation connected to remains found on December 21st near Portsmouth Avenue and New Haven Court. At the time, the identity is unknown. Neighbors tell News Channel 3 around December 23rd, shortly after law enforcement activity at the home, multiple security cameras were installed.
Always been very odd, scary. Since we moved here in 2015, we've always called him the scary man in the scary house. When we finished moving in 2015, we noticed there was a forensic truck here also back then.
New photos received by KSQ News Channel 3 show a forensic unit from the Imperial County Sheriff's Office outside the home in 2015. Fast forward to February 13th, a search warrant is served again. Feinblum is seen jumping a fence trying to run away from police. He's arrested on suspicion of murder and resisting a peace officer. Currently sits in the Imperial County Jail.
He's just walking all nonchalant. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's not being under arrest for homicide and dismemberment of a person, you know what I mean, kidnapping. They're just having the one cop's on his phone, the other one's looking off to the side, no handcuffs, no restraints. Do you know what I'm saying? We're gonna do a couple more minutes of this, see what else, any other new information. But this is a longer story, so we're not gonna watch the whole thing.
Held without bail. Where the investigation stands for now, only partial remains have been discovered. It's a multi-agency investigation and ongoing. Court proceedings are still pending.
I've been receiving every single tip, every single clue. I've been checking up on everything. So I have to also thank people for sharing my daughter's story on TikTok, on Snapchat, on Facebook, on all the platforms. I appreciate it so much, because a lot of them didn't know her, but they took it serious and they prayed for her to come home.
Now, formal charges have not been filed against Feinblum. I've been asking the Imperial County District Attorney's Office about this, and we should know more on a possible arraignment date by Tuesday when court reopens.
Okay, so there you see in that video that there was some sort of history between the two before her disappearance. You had people seeing her prior to when she went missing December the 1st with him. They said they saw her as early or late as October. And so she's put it in on Snapchat. Hey, I'm way out here in Thermal, which means she's not from that area. I think she stayed about 70 miles away from that area. Now, I do have some questions before the mother speaks. Now, once again, I am the father of a 17-year-old daughter. She got her location on too. If she's anywhere out the way, I'm checking in, first and foremost. Now, I've been a wayward child, so I know, sometimes when you get to 17, nobody can't tell you what to do. You're going to do what you want to do, regardless of the fact. Now, my question is, how was she getting way out there? Uber, bus, train, I don't know. But, me as the father I just have questions about, how she was allowed once again to get there. Once again, 17, you kind of over the, you kind of on the fence, but once again, it's a different situation, I guess, in my situation, everybody's situation different. So I'm going to let you know, I haven't heard the mother speak besides of what she said. And once again, my condolences to the mother and the family, but it's just, I hate that this happened to the young lady, but we must be careful. A lot of young ladies, this is not the first time that we've seen young Black girls go to meet older white men, and then they end up dismembered, stuffed in walls, burnt up, all types of atrocities. And in this case, it looks like he chopped her up because they said they found a decomposing leg, not a body, just the leg. And so that tells me that, he was behind them pink walls doing something very law-abiding citizen-ish to our young sister. But let's listen to what the mother had to say. Then I'll be back to wrap this up.
Tonight, the parents of 17-year-old Chaasadyah Tovar are speaking exclusively with News Channel 3 following the identification of her remains and the arrest of a person in connection to her death. 51-year-old Salton City man Abraham Feinblum has been arrested on suspicion of murder and resisting a peace officer. He's being held without bail in an Imperial County jail. Hello, I'm Athena Gerage. News Channel 3 was the first to report that Tovar's remains had been identified after her mother told reporter Garrett Hoddle that DNA police collected from her matched remains discovered near the Salton Sea back in December. Tonight, both of Tovar's parents are speaking together on the case for the first time and about the daughter they lost.
Before the field, before the crime scene tape, before the arrest, it was just Chaasadyah.
Chaasadyah is a vibrant young lady, a spark. She is a force to reckon with.
A daughter, a teenager, big energy and dreams.
She's funny in her own ways, very flamboyant.
Her parents, Charo Tovar and Josh Carter, are separated. Chaasadyah wasn't living with them. Like a lot of 17-year-olds, she was figuring out life, sometimes doing things our parents wish we wouldn't. But at the end of the day, she had a mom and dad who she knew would be there if there ever came a time nobody else would. She was 17, on probation, but her parents say she checked in daily. She shared her location until December 1st.
I didn't know she was going to go meet someone. She didn't say who she was going to go meet. She just said she was going to Palm Springs. Her location was on, then it was off. And then her friends contacted me on social media to tell me that they hadn't heard from Tania either.
On December 1st, 2025, Tania is reported missing. December 21st, deputies respond to Portsmouth Avenue and New Haven Court in Salton City. They discover a human leg in a field. At the time, investigators cannot determine an ID. Weeks pass, then February 6, 2026, Imperial County Sheriff's investigators receive a positive DNA match from the remains. Tania's mother provided a sample. Rapid testing confirms the remains belong to Tania Tovar. On February 11th, News Channel 3 reports that confirmation. Authorities formally confirmed the next day. On February 13th, deputies and FBI agents returned to a home on Harlequin Court in Salton City, the same one from February 6th. Investigators say when they moved in, 51-year-old Abraham Feinblum ran, jumping a fence before being taken into custody on suspicion of murder and resisting a peace officer. He's now being held without bail at the Imperial County Jail. He has not been formally charged. Tania's parents say they drove to Harlequin Court multiple times asking police to search the home.
I gave them all the information that they needed. I don't believe that they took me serious. I don't believe they took me serious. I gave them too much evidence for them to have did something now.
They say they never saw Feinblum face to face. They never saw him come outside. They've been watching the scene unfold from a distance. These past 2 weeks, fighting for answers, pushing for action, barely having a moment to grieve.
I have to complete this. If it kills me, I don't care. I have to complete this for Tania. I need to find justice for her. So I don't care about me right now. I don't care how sick I get, if I lose my voice, if I lose my life, if I lose my heart. I cannot sleep. I cannot rest until I get justice for Tania.
Neighbors tell News Channel 3 they heard screaming around the time Tania disappeared. They described loud drumming, bright lights at night.
You've been the neighbor here for several years. Can you tell me anything about him, this man that lived?
Okay, so I think that's good. You know what I mean? We get the what's going on in that sense. Yeah, man. You know, Esau is a cunning hunter. You know what I mean? It's plenty of times just talking to Esau out in the streets and saying like, "Yo, how many bodies do you have in your basement?" And they give me a look like, "How do you know that?" Do you know what I'm saying? So, and it's being more, you know, people are being more aware of these things. How you know, this is overly violent, and you know, how do you just chop somebody up like it's a normal Wednesday and then go to work on Thursday? You know what I'm saying? Reading the Epstein files, the things that they do, man, it's crazy. So the being exposed, you know, too bad that the sister didn't realize who she was up against. You know what I mean? Like a stone cold killer. And not only that, a system that assists these things. You know, the mom's telling them like, "Yo, she's pinned in that house." You know what I mean? She's missing. She's in that house. And they're like, "There's nothing we can do about it." You know, and you can see the lack of law enforcement, you know, their written code, their integrity of if somebody's facing life in prison and they just dismember somebody, maybe put handcuffs on them. You know what I mean? He got arrested for that suspicion, I believe, of murder, but also resisting a peace officer. So he was actually resisting. He ran and fought the cops, and they still didn't put any handcuffs on him and just walked him out to the car. This is Babylon. You know what I mean? And it's fallen. Okay. Let's continue on. Let's go to Sirach chapter 6 and verse 13. You know, we have to know who we are, who they are. Very important. You know what I mean? Very important.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 13. So separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friend.
You're supposed to separate yourself from your enemy, not drive 70 miles to see him. You know, Like they said, she was on probation, whatever she was into. I think they said she wasn't living with her parents. You know what I mean? So she's out on her own and kind of just, doing the most, I'm assuming. You know what I mean? Uh, a 17-year-old and a 51-year-old man, I don't know if she was going to see him to get tutored. You know what I'm saying? But um, being aware in these last days can, being and having discretion can get you out of a lot of jams. You know what I'm saying? And of course, following the laws of God. Having the angels encamp around you. All right, so let's move on. That was a longer story, but there's more. There's more of what's going on in this bloody Black History Month. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 23. The next story, I don't know if you've heard about it. It's been making its way on social media, and it talks about a young brother that was hung. You know what I mean? Lynching really hasn't went anywhere. So when people say, oh, things are so much better now, you know what I mean? These curses we're still under these curses. And Esau, whether he knows it or not, whether he's fully aware, is trying to continue to defile the land. All right. Go ahead, can you bring it out?
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, and verse 23. His body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of Yahweh, that thy land be not defiled, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
Kind of. So Esau is perpetually unclean, just his he's a walking curse, you know what I'm saying? So he does everything opposite of the Most High. They say you're supposed to take the body down that night, he leaves it up there. If he says, man and women are supposed to lay together, they say you can lay with anybody, including a beast. It was a guy in, I think, Kentucky that got caught laying with a dead deer on the side of the road, Edomite. This is kind of their MO, you know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to eat blood. They want everything rare, or not even cooked at all, just completely raw. So we are different in that aspect, which is every aspect. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 66. I want to talk about my brother and how he was filmed a police officer that, stopped for no reason, usual stop and frisk. You're not doing anything, you're not bothering anybody, and just giving him a hard time. And he filmed that police officer. I believe the cop eventually got his license. I'm not sure. I think he did show it to him. But after that, at this, he's young. He's in college, right? I think it's between 17, 19. I'm not sure. But it has to be understood. That's why we got to teach our children this, that if you have a lawsuit with the police, if you have interaction with the police, you filming them, it might, what you filming might go viral or whatever. At this point, you got to watch yourself, because, it was understood back in the day, my day, which, still goes on, that the cops will just sit in front of your house. They'll harass you. They'll send people to harass you. You know what I mean? And that's just like a common knowledge, I think, in my generation, but it has to be taught to the young brothers and sisters coming up, that cops don't usually accept losses well. You know what I mean? They will retaliate any way they feel fit. And this was possibly what happened to this young brother. And I believe he was going to Georgia State. Go ahead, Ken, you could bring that out.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life.
So these are the curses, you know what I mean? And the young brother, well, we'll see. Look at what occurred. Okay.
Found hanging from a tree inside an Atlanta park. Another young Black man has been found hanging from a tree. This was last week, this time in Marietta, Georgia. There you see the young man's picture. Police have swiftly ruled it as a suicide. I know what you're thinking. I'll give you as much as we have on this one. 21-year-old Kyle Basinga found hanging in Fair Oaks Park, Atlanta. Now here's what Cobb County police are saying. Officers were called to Fair Oaks Park, 1465 West Booth Road, around 9:46 a.m. after receiving a 911 call about a dead person in the wooded area of the park, February 18th. Police said witnesses reported seeing him enter the wooded area alone on Valentine's Day, about 4:28 p.m. Detectives found no evidence indicating that anyone else was involved, no signs of foul play, according to police. 11 Alive, the local news outlet with the details, assisting in the reporting. Now, we do want to make this note. The park, it's about 30 miles away from his school, Georgia State University. Cobb County authorities say they're continuing to investigate the case, and they're awaiting the medical examiner's final autopsy. Now, Kyle had reportedly been missing since Valentine's Day. His body was found February 18th. Missing persons posters up. A few months ago, Basinga posted, though, an encounter with a police officer who illegally checked his ID without stating a legitimate reason. We do want you to watch this.
Treat me like I'm some crazy ass, bro. A random car drives behind me close like that. What? Bro, look where you are. I was on the sidewalk right here. You was driving close to me, bro. Come on, bro.
I'm just going to tell you again to chill out and stop screaming and don't get in my face, okay? That's the last time you're going to get in my face.
I'm not even close to you right now, gang. Okay. Just give me my I can go about my business. Because this is low-key illegal what you just did. You just checked me for no reason. What was your reason for getting my ID?
You said you were a student, so I asked your parent.
No, what was your initial reason? Because you see my hoodie. I have a Georgia State hoodie on, bro. What was your reasoning? Did I commit a crime? That's what I'm saying. Thank you. You seen that? Thank you.
It's okay, man, because we got cameras all around here. So you can
I don't
see
know what he done. I just saw you look like you were
driving close. I didn't do anything.
Right.
So hold on. You don't have no reason to get my ID, right? I'm not doing anything.
Actually, you are a student here, which is what I asked.
With a Georgia State hoodie on?
Right.
So you just go around asking random kids, are you a Georgia State student? Even the kid with a Georgia State hoodie on?
So my heart's already broken because he's gone. And now it's broken because we lost a future leader. Everything he said in that footage right there, to me, a layperson, not a lawyer, made sense. Is it related? No, we're not saying that. I don't know, but we wanted you to see more. He felt enough to post it, so we showed it to you. How about the family? They've spoken out. According to 11 Alive reporter Chase Hull, who spoke to Basinga's family, they're not focusing on speculation that his death may have been foul play. The quote, right now, online speculation is the least of our worries. We're focused on burying our son, and I'm happy to have found him, the family said. The GRIO helping out with the reporting. Community members, they're skeptical, though, that this is being investigated as a suicide so quickly. Why not take a beat and let's see where the evidence takes us? That's what some are saying. 4 days after Basinga was found in the park, people visiting that had been there before said they're still searching for answers. They need to know more. One resident told 11 Alive's Safenik Hina, somebody had to see something, somebody had to hear something, and everything and everybody is just quiet about it. Adding that while anything is possible, do I believe throughout the history of this country that young Black man did that to himself? I'm going to say no. Gerald Rose with the New Order National Human Rights Organization said the case felt personal to him. I have to say something because this is my backyard, he said. I can't be an activist and something just took place in my own backyard and not say nothing. We all do understand that we don't know what happened, Rose said. It's just the fact that something did happen. The young man lost his life. And we just want to make sure we get to the bottom of this. There's that. Now, the death of Carl Basinga comes in the midst of 2 lynchings within the last few months. I'm just checking the calendar. It's 2026, and we've now said 2 lynchings in recent months. Last week, Dr. Ritchie reported on 39-year-old Tony Medley found hanging at a golf course in Wisconsin. There's also DeMar Trevion Trey Reed, also found hanging from a tree at Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi, September 2025. Both police departments ruled these deaths suicide. Seems like a terrible way to go. And I know that people do take their own lives, some by hanging. But these seem to be mysteries. I've not heard about underlying mental stress. I've not heard that. It could be there. I'm just telling you, that's not front and center. The police haven't, as they ruled this latest a suicide, said anything about that I know of. Senator, it's personal to all of us, especially of a certain hue, when we have these things come to light, because too often throughout the course of history, the Black man's certainly not been valued. And when a Black man disappears or dies in ways that seem suspicious, at least requiring more explanation, more investigation, it does not seem to always, too often, be done.
No, you definitely hit the nail on the head, Sharon. The suspicion around how this 21-year-old Basinga died. And Black people are right to be suspicious. And it happened in the South, which raises the level of suspicion. And from a historic perspective, definitely the Black man has lacked the type of respect, the type of love, and the type of dignity as a group that they absolutely deserve. You know, Sharon, I'm thinking about the song that was sung by, I'm not sure if she wrote it, but Angie Stone, God rest her soul too. You know, she made that song, Brothers, you know, Black brothers, I love you. I'll never put anyone above you. And, you know, that is such an anthem and such a beautiful song to Black men who are so often been disregarded and dehumanized in ways that are cruel. And, you know, Black women are right there side by side. But when you live in a society that is male dominated, that has a patrilineal or a patriarchy type mentality, you know, Black men are often crushed under this, you know, even more than anybody else. So as a mother, you know, he was only 21 years old, and you could hear his, I wouldn't call it desperation, but just kind of, it's grating to be Black in America. James Baldwin, one of the greatest novelists of the 20th century, once said, to be Black in America and to be conscious is to be in a rage all the time. Now I'm paraphrasing him, I might not have it word for word, but I got the gist of what he was saying. And that is true. If you are conscious, you are in a rage because you already know how this country, the land of your birth, how it feels about you and how it treats you. And it's these macro and micro aggressions that we endure every single day. That, you know, it's just one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. And you can hear his frustration, Sharon. I've heard that frustration many a time all over the country from Black people when it comes to their encounters with law enforcement. And I want to share with our audience, lynching is a particular type of killing. So you're right. And the article that was written is absolutely right. We don't know. They're still investigating, but it definitely sounds awfully suspicious. Black people don't often hang themselves. I mean, that's just rare. Not that, and suicide rates are up among men and Black men in particular, check. But usually Black people not hanging themselves. So we too will wait for the investigation But we got to draw this out from a historical perspective. So I want to share something from the NAACP website, National NAACP, and I encourage people to read more about this. But, in the 19th and 20th century, lynching was used by white supremacists. It was a way to terrorize Black people, keep Black people in line. Now, notice 19th and 20th century, so well after slavery ended in this country, this is how those who subscribe to white supremacy, they use lynching as a mechanism to control Black people, to scare Black people. And during that time, from 1882 to 1969, there were almost 5,000 lynchings in the United States of America. And most of those lynchings were of Black people. And you can go and look at some of the pictures. I mean, people who engage, and not saying that that's the case. In this case, there is a however here. We always have to be extra sensitive and extra guarded when folks are saying Black folks hung themselves as a way to kill themselves. And the thought processes of how y'all come to that conclusion so quick. So we got to write the suspicion, Sharon. I'm gonna put Professor Turner in the parking lot for now. My heart goes out. I know our heart go out, Sharon and I, and the entire TYT family, indisputable team, to his family. So young, young to be.
Well, Professor Turner, Mother Turner, Senator Turner, we need the hybrid. We need all of them right now. Okay. And you're right about that extra part. Well, damn it. You owe it. You owe it. This could very well be what they've ruled it, but you owe it to us to do a thorough investigation, a real one, not a rush, nothing like that, but a real one to get to the bottom of this one. And I heard it too, Senator, the PTSD of just breathing, walking while Black.
Yes.
And the indifference of that officer. I'll give you the last word.
Yes, no, you said it, the total indifference. And there's not a sensitivity to Black pain, because in this country, Black people are not supposed to feel pain. Let me pull Professor out again. Some of the experiments that were done on Black bodies to test our pain thresholds, as if we don't feel the same level of pain, pretending like we have a higher level of pain threshold than let's say white people. I mean, all these morbid ways of experimenting on us because we are Black. A lot of that stuff is carried over into even this very moment. There are studies that show, even in the medical profession, that if there's not an extra sensitivity, some medical staff treat Black people as if our pain, our claims to pain, are just nonsense. You may recall, let me talk about maternal health for a minute. Extra famous and beautiful people like Beyonce and also Serena Williams, by way of example, talked about what they went through, in terms of childbirth, and telling medical teams how they were feeling at the time and how they were just, put off. Imagine those two women have access to money and power. Imagine the types of women who do not. And the Black maternal death rate is higher than those women in what we would call non-industrialized nations. So that's just an example of many examples that we could give how systemic anti-Blackness, a particular type of racism and bigotry, permeates every system in the United States of America. So unless we have people, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a doctor, a nurse, somebody that's in a boardroom, if we don't have people who consciously deconstruct their construction, those types of feelings about Black people permeate into systems. And then you get this type of othering or different treatment of Black people that no other group has to face. And it is all rooted back into chattel slavery and anti-Blackness in the United States of America. It doesn't just go away because this is the 21st century.
Don't ever stop telling the truth. S&T. If you are fortunate enough to be able to get yourself examined, go to a gynecologist, you better thank a Black woman who was forced to lay on a table, no anesthesia, as they cut her open and explored her womb. That's what happened in America. That's what gave us the modern technology that is still not finding its way to too many people of color today.
All right. So as you can see, you know what I'm saying? From the sister in California to the brother in Georgia, these white supremacists are getting busy. We have to definitely keep our children informed, up to date on what's going on. At that age, of course, and that doesn't even matter what age. Having the police, you might be having a bad day, you might be having a good day, but have the police just, show up on you, yo, give me your ID, do you go to this school? He's wearing a Georgia State hoodie. Like have you gotten any report that somebody is infiltrated the school wearing a Georgia State hoodie with, my description? Of course not. So, we got to keep our children informed that this is what they do, you know what I mean? And they want you to react. When you react, they can put that down. He's being disorderly conduct. Put your hands behind your back. Why? Now he's resisting arrest. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the original charge? By the time everything transpires, it's already too late. He's in handcuffs, he's in jail. You know what I mean? He took up that phone. That phone is it's a game changer in many ways, because at one point in time we didn't have cell phones. It was just our word versus theirs, and of course ours never really seen the light of day. You know what I mean? But we gotta be up on our young brothers and sisters, to the ills of this world. Fortunately, Christianity, you know what I mean, had to come back to Christianity, that God loves everybody, and these things don't happen, but that's not the case. It most certainly does happen. Okay. As obviously as we can see, you know what I mean? So we do got enemies, okay? And under these curses, our enemies definitely are not stopping, not slowing down at all. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 63. And these are still, part of the curses, things that we're dealing with. And fortunately, they're still here, Chaasadyah, you there? Can I show up, King? Well, while you get situated, I'll bring it out. Deuteronomy 28, verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And he shall be plucked from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. We're still under these curses. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yo.
Like, Shalom.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still under these curses, and we would like these curses reversed. You know what I'm saying? Having the Lord rejoice over destroying our enemies rather than over us. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we fast, we pray. You know what I mean? We do these things. We light our incense, pray to the heavens, pray to the Most High God. To reverse these curses. You know what I mean? And aim to get to the kingdom of heaven, because they always are going to have what you would call soft targets. You know what I'm saying? The one sister was 17. This young brother, I'm not sure it was he was in college age. Do you know what I'm saying? So, bright eye and bushy tails don't realize that this is an ongoing war that has been taking place that they're well aware of, but at their tender age, it's, you know what I mean, unless they're born and raised with like parents that have militant mind states and are aware and woke about the situations that are happening in America and have happened in the past, then they might not see it. 21, Chaasadyah, he was 21. That's real young. You know what I'm saying? So when you fast and when you pray and we go to the Heavenly Father, you ask him to speed up this captivity. Because There's plenty more where it doesn't make the news. You know, there's plenty more that don't get picked up in the mainstream media that, you know, is just, you know, something that happens wasn't on film. Like with the next video we're going to watch, young man lost his life, hands was behind his back. You know what I mean? They stick the dog on him, you know what I mean? And they just show a shaky camera, a shaky officer's camera, like, oh, we don't know what happened. But when you look at the camera that is on like the apartment building that they're at, his hands was clearly behind his back, and the officer shot him. You know what I mean? All right, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 5. They literally have a perpetual hatred. I was talking to some two sisters this weekend at camp, and they're like, what do you think? They just hate you? Yes. Yes, I do. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a fact. Actually, I think he just dropped off. I get it. Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time of their calamity had an end. You know, still getting shot down in the streets. You know, still getting executed by people that's supposed to be helping us. They're supposed to be watching out for us, protecting and serving, you know. But when you go back to history with police, they are slave catchers. The slave catchers with a badge now are slave catchers with a badge. Okay, let's go to the next video.
Get on the ground! Hands up! Hey, show me your hand! Tragic incident. I am thankful that the officers were not hurt, but I know that there's a family that's hurt. That's gonna miss this young man.
He's the last black child that died unjustly. I want justice for Daquan Trey Johnson. Okay? And I'm gonna get justice.
Tonight, family and friends of a man killed by Grand Rapids police are calling for justice. I'm Amber Kriska.
And I'm Brian Sterling. Family identified the man killed as Daquan Johnson. He died early this morning at the hospital. And tonight, we'll walk you through the video released by police, and we're sharing reaction from the Johnson family. Johnson was shot by police at about 9:30 last night in the parking lot of an apartment near Eastern Avenue and Logan Street in Grand Rapids. GRPD says officers believe Johnson had a gun, and when they tried to make contact, he fled.
The department released 3 videos this afternoon, 2 body cam videos, a dash cam. The dash cam shows Johnson riding his bike down nearby streets and ditching it in the parking lot of the apartment complex. He slips, and that's when officers approach with guns drawn. A canine can also be seen biting Johnson while on the ground. Seconds later, at least 3 shots were fired.
Body cam video shows the moments the officer gets out of his cruiser as the canine jumps on Johnson. One of the officers says to get on the ground and to put his hands up. With the gun pointed at Johnson's head, officers said Johnson was reaching for a gun and had one in his right hand. Officers repeated a few more commands before opening fire. A minute later, you can hear one of the officers talking about the gun.
Can you hear me? Move your arm! Yes, I saw the barrel pointed straight in my face.
All 3 of those videos came from a press conference held this afternoon. Chief Winstrom said the officers involved have been with the department for at least 5 years.
Winstrom also described the moment in which Johnson was allegedly reaching for that gun.
I believe both videos you can see that when he slips on ice after getting off his bike, he takes his right hand and he puts it in a way that would be awkward if you weren't taking something from your, either a gun or something else. So he was reaching for something. You hear the back and forth with the officers. The one officer's yelling, "Show me your hands, show me your hands." It's the other one that says, "He's got a gun, he's got a gun." He then says, "He's got his hand on a gun." He says, "Yes."
Hours after police released the videos, friends and family of Johnson marched to where the shooting happened. That's where a vigil was held.
Afterwards, they hosted their own press conference. News 8's Nicole Tam was there and shares their perspective. Nicole.
Brian and Amber, local Black community leaders are rallying behind the Johnson family. They had a 12-second video that captured of the altercation that's between police and Daquan. But because of our corporate policy, we're not able to show you that footage without signed permission from the person who filmed it. Dozens of people packed the small Boston Square Neighborhood Association office.
What you folks see on this video is Daquan on his stomach. Both his hands are behind his back.
The video played 3 times. Reaction each time. The clip is from a wider angle that shows both Johnson and police.
They executed my baby.
From that perspective, the family believes what police said happened is not true.
But they released to y'all was a bunch of BS. They wanted to tell you my son was this bad person. He was this, that. No. What we saw was that the GRPD are really the bad people.
GRPD Chief Eric Winstrom said the officers had tasers, but the canine was the less lethal option.
In a similar situation, if I was an officer and had access to a canine, that would be my choice of less lethal option, because that would be used to capture this individual. And now they thought that the individual had a gun. It would not be appropriate to then approach with a taser unless you were certain that he didn't have a real gun or that it wasn't actually a gun.
I thought the justice system, the last resort was gun violence. But clearly, they missed the tasers, the batons, and every other device.
Because this was an officer-involved shooting, Michigan State Police have now taken over that investigation. We also asked police for comment on that video. We will let you know once we hear back. Brian?
Okay, so Slacky, one thing that we're seeing here, right, is, you know, all these things happening. This is within a matter of a few days, right? And, you know, we got to take these things seriously. You know what I mean? We was talking about partying on the Titanic. It's like going out clubbing, popping bottles, and, you know what I mean? Just you know, popping champagne like we won a championship ring. But we got brothers getting shot down the street by police, hands behind their back. Brothers getting lynched after interaction with police. You know what I mean? After interaction with police, and we get, you know, open and shut case, Johnson, suicide. You know? And the leg, you know, a sister getting her leg chopped off by some Edomite serial killer that lives in a pink house with a bunch of boards on it. So, you know, the party ain't got to stop. At one point in time, we got to realize where we're at and what's really going on and how we're being systematically taken off this planet. And people don't even know what's going on. You know, don't know our left hand from our right hand at this point in time. You know, we gotta focus in and sharpen up. Okay. Let's get Lamentations chapter 4. Let me see. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 18.
I'm back. I'm sorry, I got it worked out. This is the book of Lamentations chapter 4. Verse 18, they hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come.
Time. Read on.
Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness.
So like, you know, the mentality of that police is like, I'm going to get my body today. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to shoot somebody today. It didn't matter whether it looked like he had a gun or whatever. He was running. That's it. That's all he needed. You know what I'm saying? And they're very, the police, you got to listen to their words. Did he have a gun? He said the officer said he's reaching for a gun. Did he have a gun though? And then he put the gun in my face. That's what he said. How does somebody put a gun in your face when he's laying on his back? You know, unless he's like double jointed or something like that. That's not what happened. And you can see in the other video, his hands are behind his back. He's like, all right, give up. He said, no, you know, I'm gonna shoot you 3 times. And then they allowed the dog to maul him as he's obviously dead. He got shot in the head 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Just let the dog just maul him. It was on camera. You know what I'm saying? Just that insult to injury. And you see the head Nazi, skinhead police officer, in the you know, press conference is like, yeah, it's a good thing that none of our officers got hurt. Yeah, but that guy, you know, the you know, parents are gonna be, or family's gonna be upset that, you know, he's not coming home. But you know, none of our officers were hurt. That's the only thing they really care about. You know what I'm saying? And when you see you know, something happen to a police officer, that's when all hell breaks loose. You know, say a police officer gets shot, right? We might have to talk about that next week, you know what I mean? Because the way the Most High is working is that you take one of ours, he's going to take 5 of y'all's. You know what I'm saying? They don't see this yet, but maybe eventually they will. But when their police officers get shot, they go hell and high water. They're kicking down doors. They're taking people out of cars and everything like that. And it's the biggest deal in the world. When God's chosen gets shot, it's like, okay, you know, sprinkle some crack on him and we'll move on. Or oh, he's probably a drug dealer anyway, or whatever. Or like the sister in the beginning that we talked about, they were not even knocking on the guy's door, won't even get a search warrant. Girl's missing, you know, for a month. Not, her phone's off, low location, can't find her. Her friends can't talk to her. She's not posting on social media. She might post once a day. Now she's not posting at all for a month, right? And the police are like, there's nothing we can do. Well, that's why we got help. We got the judge, the big judge, that sees all these things and is going to judge accordingly. Where were we at? Verse 19. Can you read verse 20? In Lamentations.
This is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 20. The bread of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in the pits, of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen.
The breath of our nostrils, right? The anointed of the Lord, we're the anointed of the Lord, taken in their pits. You know what I'm saying? We live in the shadow. You know, Yahweh Shem Shai, we want protection. You know what I'm saying? But we live underneath the heathen. You know what I mean? Under his shadow, we shall live among the heathen. You know, living amongst the heathen is deadly. You know what I'm saying? It's violent. You know, that's why, you know, prayer warriors, you know, law-abiding Israelites got to step up and fight for our people. You know what I mean? We got to go to Yahweh Shem Yahushai and you know, plead for forgiveness, repentance, and that he judges these heathens harshly, you know, without mercy. No mercy. Okay. All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Amos chapter 1, verse 11. This next story is very important, right? Because as we hit the streets, as we aim to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel, you know, we explain to people that, you know, your government's very wicked. You know what I mean? No type of morality exists within these confined walls of Babylon, right? And beyond, but Babylon's terrible. Okay. And now we have clear-cut evidence, as you're going to see, that not only are they hunting us by the police, we know that, but they hunt us for sport. Just like that movie with Ice-T. You know what I mean? They bring them and bring him out there, give him food, and you know, I mean, he was homeless, brother. You know what I mean? And they say, "All right, now run," and they literally go out there and hunt him. Happened to a Benjamite brother hanging out with Esau. I think on purpose too. I'm not sure with the Benjamite brother, but he got 9 bullets in the back, and then apparently, you know, they said, "Oh, we don't know what happened. He tripped and fell and got shot 9 times. Nobody went to jail." Okay, so now we got further evidence that this occurs, and it's in the Epstein files. Okay, go ahead, King. You can bring that out.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 1 and verse 11. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever.
So literally pursuing his brother with the sword. We'll see that in the next clip of us being hunted by the rich elite billionaires, people that actually run the country, run the world, are hunting us. Let's watch.
What up, my beautiful African family? It's your man, Theo E.J. Wilson, a.k.a. Brother Tej, with African Diaspora News. And the Epstein files have taken the world by storm. I was just in Gambia. They're talking about it there. After that, I went to Senegal. They're talking about it there. I went to London and Istanbul. That's why I was gone. And they're talking about it there, too. The global international consequences, the fallout for the world order as we know it, is going to be catastrophic when it comes to the faith that we have in the system itself. And there's so many sordid, horrific details coming out. All these conspiracy theories are getting proven true. The adrenochrome and the drinking of the blood and the babies that's getting eaten. And of course, we know about the sex trafficking and the high elite status people who were on the island to abuse and partake of the rapaciousness with Epstein himself. But of all the things, there's something that's getting lost in the details. And that is the fact that we have evidence buried in these 3 million files that Jeffrey Epstein and his cohorts hunted Black people on the island. Now, this was something that has been suspected for quite some time. But now we got these receipts, and here's how they pan out. The example we're pulling from is an Epstein Files data set 9. And if you go to the Department of Justice website, justice.gov, and look up the Epstein library, you type this word in, and it comes up automatically. Now, you know, Pam Bondi and them are trying to take the files off the back end so we can't see them, but there's an old racial slur that I heard from Black folks. If you type in moon crickets, I don't know where the term moon cricket came from, but if you type in moon cricket, you will find this email in the Epstein files. It's currently there right now as of the making of this video in data set 9. It literally says, subject, snipe hunt is over, moon crickets in field bag, date Saturday, January 1st. And it said, guess what? They're N-words. Can't get more racist and clear than that. Snipe hunting, they called it. Hunting Black folk down is snipe hunting. Moon cricket in field bag, guess what? They're N-words. Moon crickets in the field bag. I wonder what that field bag looked like. But that's not the only evidence. Let's dive into some more. This next example of Jeffrey Epstein and his cohorts hunting Black people is a conspiracy theory that was proven correct about Epstein's connection with the Rothschild family. Now, a lot of people, if you've been in conspiracy land long enough, or you've been doing a deep dive on the roots of our central banking system, you know that the Rothschild family is family numero uno when it comes to the quote unquote Illuminati bloodlines that control the world, right? All speculation, up until the time that the Epstein files are released. Well, here we have an email between Jeffrey Epstein and a daughter of the Rothschild family. And apparently, she was doing some snipe hunting of her own. On October 24th, 2016, Ariane de Rothschild writes Jeffrey Epstein and says, "Got it. Amazing old male and amazing hunt. My bankers should be careful." You ever be wondering what happens to these homeless folks that suddenly disappear off the street? You ever wonder where the unhoused brothers go and sisters go, the elderly, the addicted? Where do they end up? You know, there's been legislation passed in my neck of the woods that criminalized homelessness, right? And the police then have the opportunity to literally sweep them off the streets. Oh, this Epstein rabbit hole is bottomless. I mean, this is just one tiny little example of the inhumane depravity of these people in the upper crust of the world. It's pretty much not up for debate anymore that a cabal of wealthy psychopaths drink human blood, eat babies, rape girls, and hunt people. Like, this is the world that we're actually living in. I said, when I first saw this latest data dump of Epstein files, I was like, I got to call every conspiracy homeboy and be like, I owe you one, bro. Apologies. The craziest, I was like, literally the only thing that is not in these, there's like two things that are a mad conspiracy that ain't in the Epstein files at this point, that haven't shown up yet, but we don't know. And that's reptilians and aliens. I'm waiting on reptilians and aliens. Everything else turned out to be true, which is crazy. And they might be turning out to be true later on. We never know. But here's the thing. I think that this is a beautiful time to be alive, because if you look at all the things that have been in the way of people getting what they need on this planet when it comes to a livable wage and universal health care and the amount of money comparatively small that it takes to end world hunger, poverty, to stop these wars and these genocides, blowing up babies and all this stuff. What it's going to take is us exposing these people, knowing who they are, in finding some apparatus to bring them to justice. But first we have to know who was who and have a good enough reason to exert the kind of force necessary to bring them down. And there's no better reason than the violation and harm of children and the innocent. Racism is one of the many faults that they have as people. Like, I'm like, it would be weird if you were into like eating babies and not also kind of racist. Like, it would be crazy if Jeffrey Epstein was like, yeah, I'll violate teenage girls and I'll eat me some babies, but I am all about reparations for Black Americans. That would be the bizarre thing. It's not bizarre that somebody that depraved also participated and enabled the hunting of Black people. So we at the African Diaspora News Channel will be keeping our eye on this situation, as I know that you will. But most importantly, we need you to keep your eye on us as well. And you could do that by downloading our app. Ain't none but, what is that, $9.99 a month, 13 cents a day. You can't afford not to download that app, especially the way that they are dialing down our algorithm here on YouTube with the more.
All right. Yeah, shout out to the brothers at African News Diaspora for, this information. You know what I'm saying? And trust and believe, you could look at it for yourself. You know what I mean? Because, of course, it's going to be what you call disinformation campaigns. Oh, this was in the Epstein files, and it really wasn't. So it's important to read things for yourself. But as you can see, like, oh, are they racist? We're still, it's crazy to run into somebody that's saying, like, you think white people are racist, you think they're bad people, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, well, they kind of been eating us from jump, in slavery. They were cannibals. So now things haven't changed. We talked about, was last week or the week before, about the beef jerky. So when they do a hunt and they have a field bag, I doubt that they're burying brothers. You know what I mean? When they talk about beef jerky and all these other food references, they're drinking blood. They're eating people. This is America. This is Babylon. This is modern day Sodom and Gomorrah, modern day Egypt. The worst place you can ever imagine. And then think about this. There are redactions in that dump of with the e-files. They redacted some stuff we don't even know about. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how bad can it be? They're talking about eating babies, drinking blood, which was probably grape soda, eating people, beef jerky, hunting down brothers, all types of matter of wickedness as far as abusing women and children. And then they have plenty of pages redacted where you can't even read what it is. I'm sure it has something to do with so-called UFOs, or what they thought, their thoughts on that they don't want us to know about. I'm sure it has to do with these cell phones and how they listen to everything that we saying, watching what we're doing, and all that. It has to be things that are so bad it will literally collapse society. You know what I'm saying? But as you can see, the Most High is exposing these things, so you know we're close to the end if we're finding out all these very important very important pages of information about not just Epstein. This goes far beyond that, and we're going to get to that too, because it's not just Epstein. It is prime ministers, you know, quote unquote princes, big business. Okay, this is big business. So let's go to Zechariah 11 and verse 4.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, and verse 4. Thus saith the Lord, my God, feed the flock of the slaughter.
Go ahead.
Whose possessors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
You know, they say, look, they hunt us down, say I didn't do nothing wrong. You know, they had the FBI helping them out. They have you know, NSA, CIA, all these people, all these intelligence agencies that can tell you how much you had, you know, how much money you spent, that you untaxable revenue that you didn't put on your tax sheet, but they can't tell you that they're flying in islands, taking children, kidnapping them off the streets, taking them to islands, having their way with them, chopping them up and eating them. They can't see that. They can't find that. And, you know, Pam Bondi was saying that, you know, I've no idea what's going on. You know, if we had, and Cash Patel said, if I had evidence of people doing something wrong, I would definitely let you know. But come to find out, we're reading the evidence right there. You know what I'm saying? But this is where where we're at. That's why we gotta get into the kingdom, man. All right, now let's go further about all these other businesses that are being exposed. Let's get Job chapter 9 and verse 24. They say, I didn't do anything. What do you mean?
This is the book of Job.
But obviously, they have been doing stuff wrong, and we can read about it. And there's 3.5 million other documents that they haven't released. Go ahead, can you bring it out?
This is the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
The earth, they have total control right now of the earth. We ask Yahweh Shem Yahushai to come and take the reins. You know what I'm saying? Take it out of this monster's hands. You know, because it's only going to get worse. You know what I'm saying? But it's a beautiful thing that's being exposed, but it still goes on because none of them have been locked up yet. Not in America, anyway. Okay, so let's look at some of the places where, or some of these corporations that are implicated in these files.
Here are some brands that were found in the Epstein files. Life Touch, the brand that takes 90% of our school pictures and also facilitates JCPenney photos. Yeah, they've basically been giving our pictures up so it could be a catalog for these predators to look through so they could see what kids they want. 2, Chuck E. Cheese, the CEO, and now they're going to have a new one starting on February 13th because he decided to step down after getting caught. Wayfair was mentioned just short of 400 times in the files. So yes, y'all were completely right, and it was not a conspiracy theory when everyone was saying that Walmart and Wayfair are listing shoes and furniture at $100,000 price tags with the names of real children that were missing. It was not a conspiracy. They were really doing that. Victoria's Secret, Bath & Body Works, White Barn, and Pink. They're all owned by Les Wexner, and he is in the Epstein files. It's everyone.
It's everyone. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. It's all of them. You know what I'm saying? And it was Wayfair. You can check that out. It was conspiracy, quote unquote conspiracy, that, you know, Wayfair has like reasonable prices on their furniture and things of that nature. So you have a desk that goes for $87, right? And then you have another desk called Marcus, and this desk will be $32,000. And people are like, oh, maybe it's a mistake. You know, so I'm like, oh, that's a mistake. It's just, you know, somebody put an extra zero on there or something like that. But then they'll go back. People will say, oh, there's actually somebody named Marcus that's missing, you know, at around the same time as this desk goes up for sale. So they were doing human trafficking in front of people's face. Walmart, the same thing, in front of people's face, and saying like, if you mention like, what are you, conspiracy theorists? You think we will do something like that? Now there's evidence that the people that own those corporations are totally about that. You know what I mean? All right, so let's go to Job chapter 8 and verse 22, because now one thing, you know, it's all about us. It's all about so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? It's all about us. But as you can see, you know, it's still dangerous for us living in this country. But as we can see that Esau and his empire is collapsing. All right, and let's talk about it. Go ahead, can you bring it out?
This is the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 22. They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to naught.
Khan, you know they hate you. You know what I'm saying? So now they're getting their titles revoked. They're getting arrested. They're getting exposed. So all praise to the Most High. It says it's not just a one-way street right now. You know what I mean? Although we can catching hell, they getting it too. All right. And we ask you, how about your mouth shy to add on to that hell? Theirs, of course.
But we want to get right to that breaking news from England. You've heard about it by now, where the King's brother, Andrew, once second in line to the British throne, was arrested by police at his home this morning. Andrew has been detained on suspicion of misconduct amid the growing uproar following the release of those Jeffrey Epstein files. Ramy Inocencio is outside Buckingham Palace with the latest. Ramy, good morning. This is a stunning turn of events. What can you tell us?
Gail, yes, absolutely stunning. Massive news here. The arrest of a British royal at about 8 a.m. this morning. British police arrived at the home of Andrew. We understand that that involved 6 unmarked cars and 8 plainclothes officers. And this is linked to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Not for that, but on suspicion of misconduct while in public office, and that carries a maximum penalty of life in prison.
Photographed on all fours over a female in the Justice Department's most recent release of Jeffrey Epstein's emails,
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested at Sandringham, the private estate of his brother King Charles, about 3 hours north of London. On suspicion, Andrew, as trade envoy in the 2000s, shared confidential information with Jeffrey Epstein about investment opportunities around the world, including Afghanistan and Hong Kong. In a statement, police confirmed, "We have today arrested a man in his 60s from Norfolk and carrying out searches at 2 addresses. He remains in police custody and will not be named." Andrew has vehemently denied any wrongdoing whatsoever since he befriended Epstein in 1999.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady.
including knowing Virginia Giuffre, who accused Epstein of sex trafficking her as a teenager. She took her life last year.
Today, her family released a statement saying that Mountbatten Windsor was never a prince. He was stripped of all royal titles last year and has been under mounting pressure to testify in front of the U.S. Congress.
How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein?
King Charles and Queen Camilla earlier this month said they stand ready to support the police in their investigation. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer applied political pressure.
Everybody is equal under the law, and nobody is above the law, and it applies, and it has to apply in this case in the same way as it would apply in any other case.
So much pressure now building on Andrew, the former prince. Also of note, it's his 66th birthday. Gail.
Thank you very much, Remy and Ocencio, reporting from London. We want to read now the entire statement from Virginia Giuffre's family. It reads this: "At last today, our broken hearts have been lifted at the news that no one is above the law, not even royalty. On behalf of our sister, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, we extend our gratitude to the UK Thames Valley Police for their investigation and the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He was never a prince for survivors everywhere. Virginia did this for you." Let's bring in our CBS News royal contributor. That's Roya Nika. She is a royal editor for Britain's Sunday Times, and I know that she's getting in position even as we speak. But Roya, we're very excited to have you this morning because we all woke up to this news, and I have to say, we're all still processing it here in the States. I can't imagine what's happening in the UK. Do you know yet if the king is going to respond directly to the arrest of his brother?
Well, good morning, Gail. This is all happening very fast, but we have just literally this minute had a statement from the King about the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and I can read that statement to you now. He says, "I've learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I've said before, they have our full, wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all." And that statement for the King is signed Charles R. So that is the response. Extraordinarily, we are due to see the King open London Fashion Week imminently, as his brother has been arrested this morning. So that's just in, Gail.
Yeah, I'm wondering, it was stunning. For us here in the United States, did you all have any heads up? Was there any talk that this was possibly in the works? Were you all as surprised as we were here in the U.S.?
There has been momentum building over the last few days, Gail. We saw yesterday, I think, an accumulation of around 7 or 8 police forces getting involved. We also had the involvement announced yesterday of the NCA, which is our national crime agency, sometimes described as the British FBI. So there has been a feeling that police forces could no longer not look at this very seriously, and I think it has been moving in one direction. That said, to see those police cars arriving, about 8 of them this morning, at the Sandringham estate, at Wood Farm, where Andrew is temporarily staying, is quite a moment. This is the King's brother who has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in a public office, the first senior royal to ever be arrested.
Roya, it's Vlad. Have we heard anything at all from the prince's former wife, Sarah Ferguson, and his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, and how they are perhaps reacting to this news?
But at the moment, this is all very needed. We have not yet heard from the former Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, or from Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie. It has been quite interesting in the last few weeks. Sarah Ferguson, we know, has been abroad a little bit. She has kept a very low profile, as have the princesses. Obviously, very difficult time for them. It's been made very clear from the palace and from the King that regardless of what Andrew Mountbatten Windsor may or may not have done, and we must stress he has always denied any wrongdoing in this issue, that the King has always been very clear to keep the girls close, but this is going to be a very difficult time for them. Things have seriously escalated now.
Roya, the phrase misconduct in office, what exactly does that mean? I'm not familiar with that. And what happens now?
Well, misconduct in a public office, there's various forms of it. What the police are looking at specifically here is the emergence of what the emails in the Epstein files appear to show, which is that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, during his decade as the UK's trade envoy from 2001 to 2011, appeared to send sensitive, highly classified documents and information, government information, briefing information on things like reconstruction in Afghanistan, on things like investment opportunities in around the world, from his trips around the world, from China contacts, to Jeffrey Epstein. And there is a suggestion, not proven, there's a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein may have used some of that information to his financial advantage. We must stress again that Andrew has not been charged. He has merely been arrested on suspicion of this and denies any wrongdoing. But if someone is charged and if they are found guilty of that offence, it does carry a maximum life sentence.
Now we can see over there in the UK that, you know, they're actually starting, you know, putting people in jail. You know what I mean? The president's brother got arrested, right? And in the United States, you have Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, chugging beers in the locker room of the United States hockey team. You know what I'm saying? They won, so he's throwing them back, you know? So you can see the difference, you know what I'm saying? And in other places too, they're starting to, you know, put things in order, you know what I'm saying? Put people where they need to be. Now, this guy, so-called Prince Andrew, he's not arrested for leaning over that woman that, you know, he's on all fours, this woman like she was dead, right? He's not arrested for that, or all the multiple accusations of sexual misconduct. He's in jail because, or he got arrested, arrested because he was giving out information to Epstein. You see how it's like a big, what George Carlin said is a big team, or you know, and you ain't in it, you know what I mean? Or it's a big club and you ain't in it. Because any investment opportunities, they're like, yeah, you know, I'll let you know. United States is about to sign a big contract for helmets. That happened with Nancy Pelosi. And all of a sudden, before it happened, her and all her, you know, friends and her husband and everything, everybody bought this stock in this unknown this unknown company that was about to make these helmets to get this huge contract from the United States government. So, you know, this is them pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, you know what I'm saying? Just helping each other out. Yo, they're about to build up Afghanistan. They're going to use this company, invest in that company. Do you know what I mean? So that's how they use the stock market and how they enrich themselves at the expense of everybody else in the world. All right, let's go to Revelation chapter 6. Chaasadyah. Revelation chapter 9, verse 6. But we have a powerhouse that oversees all of this, and he is actually putting the spirit on these guys. You know what I mean? That, you know, Esau, the minute something happens, he's going to the top of a rooftop and he's looking down. You know what I mean? He's thinking about everything he ever did, and he's about to end it all. You know what I'm saying? With this guy, that's what happened with the former prime minister of Norwegian prime minister. Go ahead, King, you can bring it out.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 9 and verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
So he tried to take himself out, but apparently he's still alive in serious condition. You know, Esau, it don't take much. Esau will destroy himself. And here's the video on that.
Major news as we are learning that the former Norwegian Prime Minister Thorbjørn Jagland has attempted to commit suicide last week after he was charged with gross corruption linked to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein that was revealed in the files released by the DOJ. So his suicide attempt came days after this charge, and we are just learning about this now, and we're not sure of his condition going forward. If he will make it, it's just labeled as serious. So guys, this is major fallout from the Epstein files. Jagland was one of Norway's most prominent political figures, serving as the Secretary General of the Council of Europe. Jagland is also the former Nobel Peace Prize chairman. So guys, he was very politically involved, and this just shows the reach that Epstein had and the people he was trying to target, the rich and powerful. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like, share, spread.
So the guy that was on the Nobel Peace, he's a Nobel Peace Prize chairman in there with that. So winning a Nobel Peace Prize really doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? This guy is rubbing elbows with the most prolific sex trafficker on the planet Earth, child trafficking. Obviously, you know, as we can see, he was a cannibal, a murderous cannibal, and this is his best friend. He buddy. He's texting each other and emailing back and forth. And this guy's on the Nobel Peace Prize chairman. He's a Nobel Peace Prize chairman and the former prime minister in Norway. Okay. So Esau's really being exposed. America, of course, you know, Donald Trump still calling it was a Democratic hoax, but that's why you got to actually read it for yourself, because they put it all out there. They put a lot of it out there. Some of it's redacted, but a lot of stuff's out there. But you got to keep in mind, they're seeing like, oh, I shouldn't have put that part out. So they're unredacting things. I mean, they're taking it off of the website, but it's on the internet, so people already downloaded it, screenshot it, or whatever. So make sure you read it for yourself, because, you know, people are going to be saying Donald Trump he didn't do anything wrong. But come to find out, it just came out because NPR put it out there that Trump told the DOJ to take his stuff with his name, take it out. So the stuff that we see with his name in there, that's the stuff they left in. There's plenty of stuff that they took out on his behest. Okay. Now it's a big thing that, in 2007, Donald Trump went to the FBI and said, you got to look at this guy. He's dealing with children. But he could have just had a fallout. You know how Trump is, you know what I'm saying? Esau, they could be best friends one day, have a drunken argument the next day, and then he calls the FBI and say, hey, you know, check this out. But then they friends 5 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? All right. So partying on the Titanic isn't just us getting destroyed. Esau's getting destroyed as well. Having a good time on a skiing trip, and then all of a sudden an avalanche hits. Let's talk about it. Let's go to Nahum chapter 1 and verse 5.
This is the book of Nahum, chapter 1 and verse 5. The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt. The earth is burned at his presence. Yeah, the world and all that dwell therein.
So the mountains melt, the mountains quake at them, the hills melt. Okay, so they're having a good time, they partying, they learning how to ski. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, a huge avalanche falls on them. This is what took place in near like Mount Tahoe or somewhere over there in California. We're gonna talk about it. You read next verse 6.
Who can stand before his indignation, and who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him.
So let's check this out. What happened over there in Cali?
Good evening. I'm Betty Yu. Crews have now recovered the bodies of all 9 backcountry skiers killed in the Castle Peak avalanche. Today, we also learned the names of the 3 guides from the tour company who died. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office has confirmed all 9 victims have now been recovered from the Castle Peak avalanche site. All but one of the victims were from California, many with ties to the Bay Area and Northern California. For the first time, authorities released the identities of 3 guides from Blackbird Mountain Guides who were killed. 34-year-old Andrew Alessandratos of Nevada, 30-year-old Michael Henry of Soda Springs, and 42-year-old Nicole Chu of South Lake Tahoe.
The 9th person who is missing was found relatively close to where everybody else was located. That night, it was whiteout conditions, and they were unable to locate that individual. But when the conditions permitted, they were able to quickly locate that individual.
And that's one thing. That's one thing that you know that it's the Most High. You know, of course, he does everything, but like to add the cherry on top, he'll do something like this and then have no way for anybody to help him out. You know what I'm saying? To recover and maybe save them, you know, as they lay dying underneath that avalanche. You see it with earthquakes, avalanches, mudslides, that something will happen, but then the only road to get to them is cut off somehow. You know what I mean? The mudslide happens, and there's only one road to get there, and it just gets washed out somehow. You know what I mean? Or some terrible storm happens, so much fog, the helicopters can't see, so much wind, they can't risk it. That's when you know there's a judgment.
At a Saturday press conference, the sheriff praised the multi-agency effort, calling it a large-scale operation involving the CHP, PG&E, and the California National Guard.
We started bright and early with CHP going in to try and complete the operation. CHP was able to remove 1 decedent. However, the winds made them unable to complete any other hoists. The California National Guard was on site, and they continued the hoist operation and were able to return the other 3 decedents from the field. The last person was recovered at 10:58 a.m.
42 search and rescue volunteers also helped on the last day of the operation.
They are pretty amazing people, and it's an honor to work with them. I want to just make sure that everyone knows those are volunteers. And when we ask them to leave their houses and help their communities, they do so willingly. And this has been a very difficult case for them, for the Sheriff's Office personnel, from all the agencies, from all of our partners. This has been very difficult, and we cannot say enough how tremendously sorry we are for the families that has been affected by this avalanche.
The 6 other victims were women who were part of a close-knit group of friends, some of them from Marin County. Investigators say the avalanche struck on the final day of the group's backcountry tour.
This was the last day of their 3-day tour, and they did decide to leave early to try to get off the mountain early. And that's pretty much was consistent. But again, those are very preliminary. As far as other decisions, those are all going to have to be, lengthy more time for our investigation.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty much like what's that movie? Final Destination. You know, it don't matter where they go, whether it be an avalanche, whether it be a car accident, whether it be whatever. They was just marked. You know what I'm saying? And I have a feeling that this week is going to be a rough week for police. Law enforcement is going to have a rough time. Just looking at these videos and the things that they were doing to our people, shooting a brother in the back of the head 3 times. He wasn't doing nothing. You know what I mean? He had his hands in the back of his hands in the his hands were in the back of him. You know, just like cuff me. We shot him. The police not knocking down the door, knowing that the 17-year-old sister was in there. Police is going to have a rough week, man. It's going to be a dangerous week for law enforcement. Nothing that we did. This is all the Most High. The Most High going to do it, you know. Just put it out there, all right? Let's move on. So from the avalanche, now we have white supremacists kind of reneging and saying, I'm not even about this life no more. You know, let's get Job 20:12. You have, I'm talking about the the top white supremacists. You know what I mean? Saying that I'm through, I'm out. I'm not even rocking with y'all no more. So this is big news. So we're gonna talk about it. And the video, they got some, some foul language, so viewer discretion advised. But it's something important to watch, because if you don't know this guy, Nick Fuentes, he's very racist. He's one of the top leaders. He's like a Hitler, of the alt-right right now. He's the leader. And he's saying, like, y'all are stupid. I don't like y'all no more. So we're gonna talk about that. Go ahead, Ken, you can bring it out.
This is the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 12. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue.
Go ahead.
Though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth.
Read on.
Yet his meat in his bowels is turned. It is the gall of asps within him.
Yeah, he can't enjoy himself. You know what I mean? He's just, he's just being poisoned. His the way he is, the evil inside of him, it's making him sick. Go ahead.
He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh shall cast them out of his belly.
So let's check this out. Like I said, viewer discretion advised. Some foul language, but if you know who this guy is, if you ever seen him, he'll be like another Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, he might even be worse than Charlie Kirk with the stuff that comes out of his mouth, but it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I can't even get to the bottom. It's a beautiful thing to see him renege and just fall apart in front of our eyes.
Calling it that. In fact, so white supremacy, in my opinion, we need to stop calling it that. In fact, a term that I've seen a lot of people use instead is white narcissism. If things are not centering them, white people, white men specifically, they become the biggest crybabies ever, the biggest snowflakes in the world. I'm gonna give y'all a few quick examples. A new Silent Hill game was released a few days ago, and the main protagonist of this game was a black man. It's 2026, black people, yeah, we deserve to be seen more. No. People felt like this was wrong and it was political. Another example, we have the Super Bowl. As we all know, these folks went on to create their own secondary halftime that was trash as hell because it wasn't centering them. Now, one of the biggest faces of this whole white supremacy, white nationalist movement is Nick Fuentes. It seems like he's trying to go in a new direction and basically disown white supremacy, bro. It's crazy as hell.
The halftime show was in Spanish and all the performers were brown people. The message was, this is what America looks like, a mosaic of Latin peoples. Clearly it was political. Clearly it was a middle finger to white people. Weird take. Are you even a white nationalist at this point?
Honestly, I don't feel like one anymore. I feel like, do I want America to be a white country? Yes. I'm pro-white, but the movement has just been captured by losers and idiots.
And then most of them not even white. We just had the DEI white supremacists, like the DEI Avengers, you know what I'm saying, a couple of goddamn weeks ago.
I'm kind of just done pandering. I fucking hate these people.
Hey, I already had this thought in my mind that Nick Fuentes doesn't believe most of the things he say. He's just grifting.
It's just kind of depressing. And I've always been forward thinking, and I've always been heterodox, and I've always been progressive in a way. And increasingly, I don't feel like I fit in with that anymore.
Hey, man, honestly, I think he just ran out of crazy shit to say. He done talked about black people, been doing that. Those are probably some of his most viral moments. He done talked about women. He done talked about everything. He's like, okay, now I'm finna switch up. I wouldn't be surprised if he become a goddamn liberal or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
So no, I don't think I'm like you, because now it's turned into, it used to be the case that if you were against white genocide, if you're pro-white, if you're against immigration, like that is what it meant to be on our side. Now it's like you have to be a Republican culture warrior. I have to be spun up about the Super Bowl halftime show.
The way that a lot of these conservatives used to talk down onto liberals or whatever, right? People on the left, they used to call them snowflakes. You know, they so sensitive. Conservatives have literally turned into this exact thing.
It's so monotonous, so repetitive. You're screaming at the halftime show because it's in Spanish. Am I supposed to do this performative outrage? Why? I'm supposed to get up out of my seat. Who gives a fuck? You know? So I just don't.
This is crazy.
No, I don't think I fit in anymore because, you know, I'm telling you this, we've reached the high watermark of that stuff. I've been doing this for 10 years. I was into this before it was popular, before it was mainstream, and now it's filled with a bunch of complete fucking idiots. And it's really just turned into signaling that you're a part of an in-group. We're all going to perform outrage. We're all going to perform and do the same jokes, and we're all going to have the same talking points. And I don't know. It's no longer interesting to me. It's no longer interesting. It's not funny anymore. It's not edgy. It's really just become a drag. At one point, we were the trolls, and now we're the butthurt ones. There was a point in time when we were having fun and we were laughing and we were trolling and we were making jokes. And now our side are the biggest butthurt of all time.
One thing I've noticed, though, is that any non-black group, they can all come together as a collective and talk about black people when they having the best time of their life. When black fatigue was trending, it was the biggest thing ever. Like, you see, all these groups came together to talk about black people. And everybody was kumbaya. But that's the thing. White supremacy is not fueled off of love. It's fueled off of shared hate. And when you have that, it's no like structured foundation. So it's going to fall. It's going to get toxic. The thing that y'all have in common is hating something, hating a group of people.
To the young white men who feel ignored and insulted, I want to speak directly to you. For too long, young white men in this country have been treated as if your concerns don't matter, your struggles don't count, and your identity is something to apologize for.
Oh my goodness, you can't make this up, bro. What are you talking about? If you're a white man living in America and you genuinely feel oppressed, who is oppressing you? Other white men? I honestly don't get it. Y'all make up 90% of the senators, politicians, presidents. Nigga, we only got one half black president ever. You know what I'm saying? Y'all run everything. So who's oppressing y'all? Like, I'm going insane over here, y'all. I'm going fucking insane, bro. Because like, this is the most victim mentality shit ever. This old ass white man, he probably got hella properties around the country talking about, he ain't even American. Like, nigga, you British, man. Go ahead and eat you some beans and goddamn, man, bro.
That your love of your country is somehow racist and wrong. You've been told to stay quiet, to step aside, to accept being blamed for things you never did.
Let's break down this talking point. You being blamed for things they never did. Okay, if that's the case, stop taking the credit for building these great civilizations. Stop taking credit for in ancient Rome and ancient Greece. Y'all didn't do that. You didn't do shit. Never even put together a chair. Okay? So if you can take credit for the good things that your ancestors did, why can't you take credit for the bad that was did less than, you know what I'm saying, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Like, oh my God, insert whining white men. These niggas cry all day. What are you talking about?
And problems that you didn't create. Let me be clear. There is nothing wrong with being white. There is nothing wrong with being.
And that has never been, like, obviously, there's nothing wrong with being white. You can love being white. But what you have to understand is that whenever we hear someone that is proudly white, there is always racist baggage to it. Throughout history, pro-white has always meant anti-everybody else. And I don't understand why it's so hard for y'all to understand that. Pro-white has meant Klansmen. Pro-white has meant lynch mobs. Okay, old ass nigga, you don't understand that? Sitting here crying, I can't watch the rest of this shit.
To all the white women, how many times have you been on a date with a white man and they ask if you've been with a black person before? because I asked some of my white friends this question, and like a lot of the girls were like, this is a question like I got mixed responses, right? Some say that people ask like a lot, others say that they kind of like will sneak the question in once in a little bit. And I just want to know, like, personally, if you are a white woman who's been on a date with white men, have the white man asked you unprompted if you've been with black people before?
If you are a white woman watching this video, please answer that question, because I genuinely want to know as well. Because online, all I see is white men complaining about white women being with black men. And I want to say this, man. If you're a brother, I advise you to talk to a black woman. But just because it do make them mad, cool. I ain't gonna be on my Dr. Umar shit.
Guys, I've been noticing a lot more mud sharks lately. It just seems to me now.
If you don't know what a mud shark is, this is a saying that white supremacists use to refer to white women that talk to black men. Just obsessed, right?
That whenever I go, like I went to the mall or something, I saw like 2 or 3 of them. And maybe it's this phenomenon where it's like now you know what it is and you're looking for it, and like you see it, you're like, oh my God, that's a mud shark. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about you guys. Have you been seeing more and more mud sharks lately? And the woman's always alone, dude. She's always on a solo mission, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, these niggas obsessed, bro. To be supreme and white supremacists, they always been victims. They always got us on their minds. And I mean, hey, they need us at the end of the day. But no more talking, man. If y'all want to see something
all right. So that's Nick Frances saying that they're all stupid and dumb. You know what I mean? It's, all praise to the Most High. Look at the collapse. You know what I mean? Right in front of your eyes. All right, let's go to our last segment. Is going to be talking about cold showers. You know, the benefits of cold showers. So let's go to Psalm chapter 147 and verse 17. This is a health benefit.
This is the book of Psalms 147 and verse 17. He casteth forth his ice like morsels. Who can stand before his cold?
Go ahead.
He sendeth out his word and melteth them. He causeth his wind to blow and the waters to flow.
So one thing I saw with cold showers, it can snap you out of things. You know what I'm saying? Like if you in the depression, you feeling low, you know what I mean? You're having a bad day. Like reading the comments in this video, dude's like, man, when I'm depressed, I take a cold shower. If I feel suicidal, like I want to hurt myself, I take cold showers. Like it wakes you up, makes you alive. Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe them spirits don't like it. I don't know, but we're going to look at the benefits of it from, you know, internal mechanisms, you know, your body and how it works, and how a cold shower can be beneficial. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, check it out. Maybe it might be something you want to do.
What would happen after 14 days, 2 weeks, if you took a cold shower every single day? That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to do a deep dive into this topic. Now, you may have heard of this guy called Iceman. He's wrote a book. He's done YouTube videos. He developed the Wim Hof method using things like ice baths, cold showers to improve your health. I'm going to talk about some of the benefits and the research revolving around using cryotherapy or cold therapy. Now, before you click off and say, there is no way in heck I'm going to ever take a cold shower, just hear me out, because there are some seriously positive benefits from doing this. And you can do it very, very gradually, so it's not very uncomfortable. Okay? No, I'm serious. All right. Now, you would think that going out in the cold when it's rainy and it's cold, you'd get sick. That's because your parents told you to stay out of that rain. It's cold out there. You're going to get a cold. Just stay inside where it's nice and warm. Well, it just so happens that when you expose your body to the cold, and I'm not talking long term, just a short term, your immune system becomes enhanced. You get more monocytes and lymphocytes. These are white blood cells that fight off pathogens. You have a boost of T helper cells. The T helper cell is like the quarterback of the entire immune system. Okay. You also get a spike of T suppressor cells that help to calm down an overactive immune system. So they prevent too much destruction of the immune system. So it's kind of a system where your immune system is fighting things off, yet you have other factors that are making sure there's not too much collateral damage. So your immune system is enhanced when you expose it to cold, which is very, very counterintuitive. Number two, you get a spike of noradrenaline. Noradrenaline is similar to adrenaline. And when they tested people that have anxiety, attention deficit disorder, depression, they usually have low noradrenaline. So by using this amazing method of exposing yourself to cold, you can spike noradrenaline and improve your overall mood. So if you're depressed, you can pull yourself out of that lower emotion. If you have anxiety, excessive worry, things like that, it can elevate your emotion. It can help your cognitive function, your focus, your memory. You can become more alert. So apparently our bodies have evolved over eons to adapt to things like cold, hunger, starvation. So our bodies through this process have developed certain type of adaptive survival mechanisms to improve our health, to survive better when exposed to cold and hunger and things like that. It's called the hormetic effect. And a hormetic effect is when you expose someone to a stress and then the body adapts and becomes stronger. Like exercise would give you a hormetic effect. Fasting would give you a hormetic effect. Taking a cold shower would definitely do it. All right, the next thing is that taking a cold shower is going to help you lose weight. How? Well, when you take a cold shower, you're going to trigger brown fat. Another term for brown fat is brown adipose tissue. So the sensation of cold is the main stimulus to stimulating brown fat. So the more cold, the more brown fat that you have. Now, what's so significant about this brown fat versus the white fat or white adipose tissue? Well, brown fat increases heat, energy, and metabolism. Your metabolism is going to be raised when you have more brown fat. You're going to lose more weight. And brown fat will also trigger more loss of white fat, which is the storage fat that you have in your body. Okay? So that's pretty cool. In fact, 100 grams of brown fat can burn 3,400 calories per day. That's more calories than you potentially could eat in a given day. So we want more brown fat on our body. Another reason why it can help you lose weight, it can create an increase in insulin sensitivity, okay? If you've been watching my videos, the more you improve insulin sensitivity, the less insulin that's going to be produced because it's going to work now, and there's going to be less resistance to insulin, and the more weight loss you're going to have, the better the blood sugars you're going to have. So if you have diabetes, you're pre-diabetes, and you take a cold shower, you're going to notice that your blood sugars actually come into check much better. And when that happens, you're going to lose weight. Number 5, cold showers help with inflammation. They are anti-inflammatory. So if you have inflammation in your body, if you have some type of autoimmune disease, if you have arthritis, bursitis, tendinitis, taking a cold shower would be a very therapeutic thing. Number 6, cold showers can increase your overall antioxidant networks, okay? More antioxidants, the less DNA damage, the less risk of getting cancer and other diseases. Number 7, neuroprotection, okay? Cold showers help your brain. And so apparently cold activates the regrowing of neurons, okay? So that's pretty cool. And also as a side note, when you're cold, you have a much better sleep. Now, this is within reason, okay? I mean, I'm not talking about freezing. I'm just talking about having the temperature a little bit cooler. You will sleep a little bit better. So another benefit I forgot to add on to this is sleep. All right, number 8, longevity. Why? Because cold showers stimulate autophagy, just like fasting stimulates autophagy. Autophagy is a condition that your body gets into where it's recycling old damaged proteins, okay? So if there's certain things that aren't working in the body, like their proteins or enzymes or their mitochondria or their plaquing in the brain, as in amyloid plaquing or whatever, your body's going to recycle all that and turn that into brand new proteins. The other cool thing about taking a cold shower is that it will help lower cortisol. That means it's going to reduce your stress. Okay. Also, it's going to create better recovery. So if you're an athlete, okay, and you're sore and you need faster recovery, cold therapy is the way to go. I remember long ago when my wife and I went to the Dominican Republic, and I remember we walked off the beaten path and found this little oasis, this little like building, and they had all these different little baths, and they were like, they looked like little jacuzzis, but some were really, really cold and some were really, really hot. They had like freezing, lukewarm, hot, really hot, and so on. And that was a really interesting introduction to cold therapy, because at first it didn't make sense to me. Why would anyone want to jump into some cold bath, right? But we both tried it out and it was freezing. But then of course we went into the warmer bath and the hot jacuzzi. And I remember feeling really incredible after doing that. My body was just like feeling amazing, and I slept great. And then I kind of forgot about it for some years. Now, coming full circle, here I am talking about exposing yourself to cold. So anyway, here's the 10 benefits of cold showers. And think about it. If you can experience these benefits from just a cold shower, I mean, you're already probably taking a shower every day. All you have to do is turn it to the cold for a little bit and then turn it back to the hot. And I'm going to show you now what I would recommend. I would do this. When you're in the shower, start with the hot shower, okay? Get comfortable, get really hot, take the hot shower, feel comfortable, and then turn it to the cold, okay? I mean, a nice cold shower, not lukewarm, but really cold, for about 30 seconds. Now, anyone can handle 30 seconds, right? And then turn it back to hot. And then just have that as your introduction to the cold. The next day you go in there, start to increase this 30 seconds to maybe 40 seconds, okay? And then the next shower, turn up to 50 seconds. And gradually increase this to the point where you're taking a cold shower for 5 to 10 minutes. But if you do it gradually, it won't be that uncomfortable. In fact, the benefits that you're going to see are going to be mind-blowing, and you're going to finally realize you should have did this a long time ago. What's interesting, you have all these feedback systems in the body that when you expose your body to a very cold sensation, it actually warms up the internal core of your body. You actually get more circulation internally. The flip side of that, when you take a hot shower, it actually cools down the inside of your core. This is why taking a hot shower before bed might be a good thing, because it's going to cool down your body and you're going to sleep better. The body sleeps better when it's slightly colder. But anyway, this might be an easy way to approach this cold shower, unless you want to just do it cold turkey and just jump right in. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is infrared saunas, okay? Use a lower temperature than a traditional sauna. So they use like 120 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit versus traditional saunas, which are 150 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this has nothing to do with a cold therapy, but the only point of bringing it up is that it's not as hot as a traditional therapy, and there's some real interesting hormetic effects to infrared, which I will share in another video real soon. But anyway, as you can see, if you did cold therapy for 14 days, you would see remarkable health benefits. Now, if you haven't seen my recent video on the benefits of fasting, you have to see that. Check it out right here.
Yep, fasting is so important. So if you're fasting today, all praise to the Most High. Keep it going. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. You know what I mean? If you ever didn't have a hot water heater, you just know the cold shower is the way to go. But there's a lot of benefits to it as well. So sometimes something that could be a negative can turn into a positive. All right. So hopefully this class was edifying, and we'll see what happened this week. You know what I mean? The Most High, all praise to the Most High. Pray that we get some get back from this destruction these Edomites are giving to us. And we'll, if everything's still on as it should be, we'll be right back on here talking about it. Kom Yashala, we got next. Shalom.
Let's go down in style, folks! Money can't buy this kind of fun!
My brothers, I'm representing. You touch one of them, that ass will be missing. No pot to pissin'. Stop, drop, and listen. 2/3 of Jacob's about to be missing. Lords of Yahweh, that's what we teaching. Brotherly love, override oppression. Depression, that's our lesson. All for Yahweh, Almighty higher now. I will protect your sons and daughters. Isaiah 14 and 21, prepare slaughter. Yes, I will stand up straight for your order. I love all these brothers. I laugh with my brothers. I cry with my brothers. I die with my brothers. Any given day, I will fly with my brothers. Man, I share with my brothers. I confess with my brothers. On any given day, I will die with my brothers. Listen, no disrespect, let's get real. Buckshot still hit drill and make will. Body parts scattered all across fields. Finger parts left aside to state pills. The devil using gas me up like Vin Diesel. The Howard shot my CDL, I drink diesel. White men wicked as hell, these straight weasels. Just like the ancestors who brought measles. The Howard shot the good vaccine for my peoples.
I know who I am today. And you can't lie to me no more. I'm a child of the Most High. And you the devil, the Bible speaks of. Set my people free. Yeah. Let them go. Let them go. Set my people free. Let them go. Let them go. Tell you the truth, this ain't living. Cause every time we step outside, it's attempted suicide, drive-bys and homicide. It's the everyday norm. Welcome to the eye of the storm, where we at war from the day we born to the day we die. Surrounded in the flesh, drowning in these lies from these white guys with these evil eyes towards our own kind, committing genocide. Sliding down the block, then the Glock pop, another brother gone. Tell me when it's gonna stop, cause it's so wrong. But Deuteronomy 28 and 54 will let you know it's all a curse. Plus, we've been systematically played against each other. Only way to conquer a nation is basic. Hope you realize the truth and face it. With the children of Jacob and his kingdom we taking. But this generation will never make it if we don't repent and turn back to the Most High as a nation. I know who I am today. And you can't lie to me no more. I'm a child of the Most High. And you the devil, the Bible speaks of. Set my people free. Yeah. Let them go. Let them go. Set my people free. Let them go. Let them go. Set my people free. All these other nations ever did was rape, robbed, and murder us. Now generation after generation, we born into a sea of lies. With all praise to the Most High for opening up my eyes, and now I see the truth. Got me feeling magnificent. Yes, they hate us cause the drip is sick, but tell you the truth, if it wasn't for us, y'all wouldn't have shit. We that season it, boy. Yeah, the salt of the earth, and it's apparently clear through every verse. So it's Kwam Yasha'Allah too, I'm dead in the dirt. I'm taking away up in the chariot. I'm trying to lead my people to freedom like Harriet, or better yet like Moses did. Bible in one hand, sword in the other, go to war like a Maccabee. Praying mercy on my people, vengeance on my enemies. And I don't fear no man, cause I know them angels surrounding me. So go and tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Let my people go.
House of Israel. Meet your eye till chariots fly.
I know who I am.